Your a-hole coworker chooses the big presentation to point out your mistake in front of everyone. What do? Complain about them to colleagues? She is such a bitch. Get a voodoo doll and cast a curse? Take that. Or go and complain to your boss every time that it happens. He was so mean to me. Those are not the best approaches, but in today's video, we are going to talk about how to deal with coworkers who are trying to make you look bad. You know, in a way that makes them stop doing it. Hello, my friend. Welcome back. I am so happy that you are here to chat with me today. If we haven't met yet, my name is Jennifer and I am your new career bestie. Around here, we talk about career success, navigating toxic workplace situations, dealing with the office politics, all that kind of stuff. If you're like, yes, I need more of that in my life, tap the subscription button and the notification bell. Also, I hang out on LinkedIn every single day and I'm doing my best to show up on Instagram daily as well. So if you want to go and follow me in those places, I will leave the links in the description bar down below. So how do you deal with a coworker who's making you look bad without looking bad? Well, first of all, you're gonna start with a reality check. Are they actually making you look bad? Like, I get it. They are trying to make you look bad, but are they succeeding in their mission to make you look bad? Perhaps their efforts are futile. And the real issue is that their efforts to make you look bad are making you feel bad. And you know what? It really sucks when you have a coworker who does try to make you look bad, makes you feel insecure about the work that you're doing, or just tries to shame you about mistakes that you've made or something like that, especially when they're doing it in front of other people. It's really not cool. But if they're not actually accomplishing their objective of making you look bad in those situations, then really they're just making themselves look bad, which we're gonna come back to in a few minutes. However, there are going to be instances where your coworker is trying to make you look bad and they're succeeding. In those situations, the first thing that you need to do is to evaluate the scope of impact. So who are they making you look bad to? What belief? Like, what are they making you look bad about? Is this something that actually matters? Is this something that is going to show up in your performance review or if you're being considered for a promotion? We really need to look at how they're making you look bad and what the potential perception implications could be to other people. The TLDR version of that is, there's a fly in here. The TLDR version of that is, are they actually making you look bad in a way that matters and to people whose opinions matter? In addition to that situation, another thing that a coworker can do to make you look bad is just doing general damage to your professional reputation or your personal brand at work. In that case, the same evaluation still applies. Either way that they're making you look bad, if you take a look at the situation and think, yeah, this is probably gonna have an impact on my career, my relationship with my boss, how I'm perceived by leadership, then you need to move into the next step. And that is to assume ignorance and not bad intent. For those of you who hang with me often, let me know in the comments if you spotted that one coming from a mile away. Here's the thing about dealing with humans. When you assume the worst about them, you are going to get the worst of them. People have a tendency to either live up to your expectations or down to your expectations. So really who they are is framed by the expectations that you have for them. And let's be honest, most people are not in fact assholes. They're humans trying to be good humans. It just doesn't always go the way that they intended. And really what most people lack is self-awareness and how their actions are impacting other people and the perceptions of both themselves and those people around them. What I'm saying is, in the vast majority of these situations, it is much safer to assume that someone just isn't very smart versus them diabolically plotting against you, which honestly is much more interesting, and my llama drama kind of likes that. But in most situations, it really is typically that they just really aren't thinking about the consequences of their actions and behaviors. And I genuinely believe that in these situations, most people are trying to do good work and they are trying to help you. They're trying to create positive outcomes for the team and for the company. And it's just their way of doing it doesn't really look good for them, and sometimes for you. That isn't to say that no one has bad intentions when they're trying to make you look bad at work. Some people, especially toxic coworkers, insecure coworkers, All of those flavors and varieties that we talk a lot about on my channel, they just might actually be out to get ya. And in those cases, before you react, you need to make sure that you are not underestimating the perception of other people. Okay, I know that I just said that most people aren't that smart, but we do want to give them more credit than that. And I do think that most people observe when people are being a little bit salty to their coworkers and maybe trying to make people look bad. And I think that in many circumstances that the person who's trying to make you look bad ends up looking a lot worse in the situation. Especially in the corporate world, the politically savvy are able to spot the tricks because they might have pulled a few of them themselves or been on the receiving side of this like you are when your coworker is trying to make you look bad at work. It might all really backfire on them because them throwing you under the bus like they just did is actually making them really look bad, and it's damaging their own professional reputation and leaving yours intact. But it is important to know that in these situations, those people are also going to be observing your reaction to your coworker who is trying to make you look bad. Are you maintaining calmness and professionalism? Who you are in this situation, especially when someone notices, is going to speak volumes to you. And this is a great way to earn respect and esteem from coworkers who see exactly what is going on. So is it good that you're in the situation where you have a bad coworker who's trying to make you look bad? Of course not. But if there can be a silver lining on the cloud, we are going to take it and make the drama worth the while. Ultimately, especially if you're someone who is trying to cultivate career success and maybe advance in your career, being the bigger person in these situations really matters. So doing things like not reacting in the situation, not sitting and stewing and disengaging, and implementing the next step, which is to actually confront them about it. If you've been hanging around here for a while, you know that I am not a fan of public confrontations at work. I don't think that people need to be called down and shamed in front of the entire team or multiple people in your organization. And again, working from the assumption that they didn't really know what they were doing, we want to be as discreet and professional about this as possible. And I know that this confrontation can be kind of scary. I have a video on how to deal with conflict, and you should absolutely check this out if this is something that is making you nervous. But typically, when you have a coworker who is trying to make you look bad, you can confront them in the most simple way. In a private conversation, a one-on-one meeting, or if you really need to, using a DM, but I do recommend having a human-to-human conversation here, ask them about the situation and what their goal was in that moment. For example, this could look a little something like this. When you contradicted the customer's sentiment about the project in the meeting, it kind of threw me off and I wasn't really expecting it. I'm just curious what your goal was. You, my friend, are not a human doormat, and approaching them in a non-defensive way, you don't want to throw up accusations, you don't want to be, again, shaming them, is going to just point out to that coworker who's trying to make you look bad that you're not going to stand for it. In most cases, what you're trying to do when you are confronting them about them trying to make you look bad is that they did it in the first place, because again, throwing back, most don't really think about their actions. And for those that were intentionally trying to throw you under a bus and make you look like you don't know what you're doing, it's going to show them that you're not going to stand for it. And they should think twice before they do it again. That said, when you're dealing with a real corporate Chad, this still might not be enough, and Chad's gonna chat, if you know what I mean. And in that case, you need to move into the next step, which is to own your awesomeness and create unignorable impact, ideally with a paper trail. Honestly, and I don't know, maybe you guys are getting sick of me saying this, but the best way to make yourself impervious to this kind of coworker drama at work and people making you look bad is to make your awesomeness known. When it's a fact, no one can deny it. When your coworker is trying to make you look bad, if the people in the meeting or in the vicinity know who you are, know the impacts that you make, and know how awesome you are, well, it's gonna be really hard for that coworker to effectively make you look bad. There's just no argument. And this is why it's so important to know and own your unique awesomeness quotient, your UAQ. If you haven't already downloaded my free UAQ starter kit, go and do so right now. This is going to give you the foundation to start standing out at work and really cut the BS when it comes to someone making you look bad. I'll leave the link to snag it in the description down below. And honestly, my friends, this is something that we need to talk about a lot more around here. When your potential and your awesomeness is known and demonstrated, people really see the tremendous value and impact that you have within the team and within the organization. Any perceived limitation, weakness, anything like that your coworker is throwing you under the bus for isn't really going to matter. If you are deemed to have high potential, a lot of those little things and the little dramas are actually going to really not matter and not register, especially with the people that have the potential to move your career forward. So you might get sick of it, but I'm gonna keep on saying this. However, you do still have to deal with this coworker who's trying to make you look bad. And if all of these steps haven't worked, there's another thing that you need to do, and that is to minimize and mitigate. Like any other toxic coworker who just can't take the hint, find ways to avoid them as much as possible. I know that it's not always achievable. They might sit right next to you. They may work on all of the same projects and they're in all of the same meetings. So I'm not saying that this is fully achievable in every instance, but set boundaries, try to find ways to minimize their contact, and when you do have contact with them, mitigate the risk by making sure that there is documentation or witnesses. Emails, instant messages, taking notes, having meetings, like bringing other people into the conversation, not frivolously because no one needs more meetings like that, but where it is appropriate, make sure that you're not in these situations that they can potentially take what occurs to throw you under the bus and try to make you look bad in the future. And really what you're doing here is you're dealing with them like any other toxic coworker, because someone who continues to try to make you look bad kind of is a toxic coworker, aren't they? And if that is who you are up against, I want you to go and watch this video right now to help you learn how to deal with a toxic coworker. But before you go, if this video helped you figure out how to deal with someone who's trying to make you look bad at work, give this video a thumbs up. It really helps my channel and it makes you my favorite career bestie. As always, my friend, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.